Alright, hello everyone. My name is Blix. This is one of my submissions for ESA Winter 2018. I'm going to be playing the Talos principle. This is old any percent, to put it like that. This is any percent the messenger ending, and I'm going to be using an old route, which is slower but more marathon safe than the current world record route. As of recording this, I am 5th place on the leaderboards. In this category, which again is any percent messenger. I am the fastest one using this route, which unlocks the cube and is generally more marathon safe. And there are 4 people above me on the leaderboards using a faster route which does not unlock the cube and therefore saves a bunch of time. Anyway, let's get started. So the beginning of this game, let's see, there we go, time starts. Beginning of this game is kind of marathon not safe, so if I fail this twice, I'm just gonna do a safer backup strat, because this parkour right here is pretty tricky. I actually got it, so that's not bad. If I had failed that, there is a backup that loses 20 seconds or so, it's not a big deal. Anyways, as you've noticed, I've already broken out of bounds. I solved the puzzle. Not as intended exactly. So you're supposed to use these things to jam the barriers, and then jam things and solve puzzles. But I mostly use them to boost myself over obstacles that you're not supposed to be able to jump over. So for example here, I'm supposed to go through these blue barriers, but instead, just go on top of the wall. Oop. Saves a bunch of time and makes for a more fun speedrun. So like this geometry right here, you're not supposed to be able to jump on it, but by placing the item under me, the hitbox of the item lifts me up a little bit and allows me to do that. Oh, that's a problem. That's not supposed to happen. I got a huge boost, threw me up into the air pretty far. Loses me a little bit of time, but it's okay. A number of the strats that I'll be using for this run are slower than the strats that I would normally use. Again, for marathon safety. That was World 1, by the way, moving on to World 3. So yeah, they're a little bit slower. I lose a little bit of time, but it's just to show what I'm planning to do at the marathon. Like this, for example. I could have done a faster strat involving breaking over the gate, but I elect not to here. Reading that QR unlocks, or helps me unlock paint, which I'm going to be using later in the run to break a bunch of levels. Anyway, so back to what the game is about. As you can see, I'm collecting a bunch of Tetris pieces. These Tetris pieces are used to unlock these weird, like, slidey puzzle things. And when you... Ooh, first try. Nice. That's actually a very tricky jump. Anyway, when you you use these Tetris pieces to solve certain puzzles, which we'll get to in just a moment. And when you do that, you unlock different things. So the first one I'll be solving will unlock the cube. Whoops. Alright, I'm gonna be quiet for this. This is actually a pretty tricky parkour section. I've fucked up. Alright, so this is stuff that can happen during a marathon. I'm gonna allow it. It's just me being bad. I'll get more consistent at this. I'm a little bit rusty now as well, so I blame that. Anyway, so this is one of the puzzles. I'll be using some of the pieces that I've been collecting. Like that. That unlocks the cube, which we will be using a little bit later. This is the first level where we will see paint come into effect. Assuming I did everything right to unlock it. This is probably not a marathon safe way of doing this puzzle, come to think of it. Maybe I should look for an alternative. Anyway. So now I'm searching for the paint bucket, which can spawn in 4 different locations here. Oh. It spawned here, that's alright. Now that it's spawned there, I know exactly where it's going to be for all the other levels, which is nice. Paint Bucket also has a really weird hitbox. As you can tell, I use the hitbox and the slopes of the wall and some very finicky and weird inputs to make it basically launch me into the air like this, which lets me break out of bounds almost anywhere. And that's how I'm going to be beating the rest of the game, breaking out of bounds using a paint bucket and certain other objects. Let's see, another tricky parkour section coming up. Also worth pointing out is that a lot of the geometry is really screwy because I have very, very high FPS. I have high FPS because it helps me do a lot of weird tricks. Like using the paint bucket to jump up like that requires you to have very high FPS. The higher FPS you have, the more it will launch you. So therefore I've set the graphics to the minimum, absolute minimum, and let's see here. A little bit of weird geometry here. There we go. I'm doing whatever I can to boost my FPS, but what that also means is that the geometry is really weird and slippery. I can get stuck on walls a lot. And when I'm walking on top of the walls out of bounds, like I'm doing pretty much all the time, there is a slight chance that I will get a weird boost that just throws me and completely screws up my game. Which can happen. That's randomness, and it's okay. It never loses very much time. Right there, I can get thrown off. It's fine. Anyway, so that was pretty fast. I left my live split window open for this demonstration, just so that you can kind of get a feel for where I am in the run, and when I make mistakes, you can like see. I don't know. But do keep in mind that my route is slower than what I would normally do. Whoops. Oof. Could probably do that in a little bit safer way as well. Anyway, here comes some interesting paint stuff. So again, the hitbox of the paint bucket allows me to do weird jumps against wall geometry. Kind of like this. The biggest one of those boosts is coming up in just a moment. I'm just going to pick up this puzzle piece right here. Do this boost. Getting into this puzzle over there, there are two ways of doing it. I'm going to do the unsafe way, which is a terrible idea, but it works. Might not do that in the marathon. Might do something slightly slower, but safer. Loses about a second. Alright, one more puzzle piece here, and then we're moving on to World B. So at the top of the screen, you can see kind of what I've been gathering so far. You can see I have 8 red pieces. That's the ... in red. And you can see the green pieces that I haven't used yet listed in the things. So you see all of the ones in the B slot are filled up except for one, which is still in the first door slot. I skipped that door by breaking out of bounds, so I can use that piece to unlock the B door instead. World B is pretty fast. Here in I'm going to do just B3 and B4. Here in B3 there are 2 sigils I'm going to pick up. The first sigil I just run and grab, because I never unlocked the fan, which is another item you can unlock, like the cube. I can just run and pick up this piece because the fans aren't activated. Actually, no, it's the connector that causes that. Anyways, one of the items I didn't unlock allows me to grab that. Now I'm going to do a very risky strat to getting the other sigil, which is only a couple of seconds faster, and I failed it. I'm going to try it one more time. If I fail it this time, I'm going to do the backup strat, which isn't much slower, but it doesn't look cool, which is the reason why I don't want to do it. Actually, I'm going to try it one more time. Alright, focus mode. The geometry is very, very slippery here, which is why I'm struggling. Anyway, so you jump above and you grab it like that. The backup strat is just to run into that puzzle over there and pick it up because the fans are off there too, so you can just run in and grab it. but I don't think it's as cool as going from the other puzzle to do it. So since I know what paint I have. I'm doing 3 puzzles in here. I know what paint I have, so I know which order I should do them in. Here I will always lose time with this paint set because, like, this is the big RNG moment of the game. Where the paint is here defines how you route this world. And there are 4 different places it can spawn. 2 of them are good, 2 of them are bad. I got one of the bad ones. And I know that from where it was in B7. But yeah, as you can see, I'm doing a bunch of weird shit, just clipping out of bounds, basically all the time. If this gets chosen to be ran at ESA in February, I would very much like to have somebody on the couch with me, because this is such an intense and fast game. Having a co-commentator, oh my god, would be very nice. I know there are a number of people from the Talos community considering going. And I do really think that this... I can't do that trick right now, by the way, so I'm going to do a backup strat. There we go. Might have to do that anyway for the marathon, depending on what kind of FPS I get. So yeah, I know that world number 1, Kraft, he lives in Sweden. I've been trying to push him to submit a run to ESA. I'm hoping he's going to go there. I know that a number of members of the community are interested in going, but I don't know if anyone has actually like decided to get tickets yet or not. Anyways, this run has a lot of like depth to it. There's a lot of nuances to the tricks. And it would be really nice to have like a good couch explaining a lot of these tricks, especially in the moments where I really have to focus and I can't really talk on my own while playing, which happens a lot in this game because it's so intense. Like there are no cutscenes, there's no break for me ever. Now is a little break where I'm just hammering inputs on the keyboard waiting for this terminal to finish. But almost everything I do in the game is high intensity focus all the time. Anyways, also I'd like to point out that if you're considering... Oh god, I'm doing wrong. I clicked the wrong button. There we go. If you're considering having this game in the marathon, you should also consider... Or if anyone else submits Talos, if for example Kraft decides to submit, he's world number 1 in a great number of categories. If he decides to submit this game, I really do recommend select him and get me on the couch. His movement, his execution is way superior to mine. If nobody else submits, then I'd love to run this game. I'd love to try to get a little bit of attention to it. This clip is really weird, by the way. I'm trying to clip this cube into the wall, but I have such high FPS that it kind of screws me up a little bit. Here I'm going to limit my FPS and do something really, really weird that I'm not even going to try to explain. This is one of those moments where having a couch would be very nice. Oh. This is also extremely finicky, kind of serious time moment. Let's see. Shit. There we go. That was good. Got it. So, if you don't understand what just happened, I will probably explain that if I submit the all sigils run, which is basically 100%-ish category. Let's see, this run is almost over. Time is coming up. Let's see here. So, basically out of bounds. Broke into the messenger ending, which is the true ending. Time. 13:14 is pretty good. I don't mind that. Anyways, I'm probably going to submit. That was very hectic, and I'm sorry if the commentary was hectic as well. Again, this is such an intense and stressful game that having a couch, I think, is important. So having somebody who knows the game talk about the game while somebody else is playing, having that kind of divided, I think is important. So let's say if Kraft submits this game, I think he should definitely play because his execution's far better than mine. But I'd love to give commentary. I think I know enough about this game to give it a solid amount of good commentary on this. Anyway, that was my any percent run. Very confusing. I can probably do the commentary a lot better. I'm still a little bit rusty, so I do need to like freshen up on the game a little bit. Losing 2 minutes in total across a, 10 to 15 minute run is not great. But all in all, I don't think that was a bad run. 13-14, that would have been huge for me back in July, for example. So, thanks for watching. Hope to be considered. Cheers.